My father beat my mother into induced labor, having fist fights with grown men, always trying to save her. Hopes of being a kid again was something to savor. Never knew I'd see the pen, but a few years later, a child made man in a man-made trial and called about the world a life taker, a youth prison knife taker. My habitat like iron wolves, body tatted a pup running with wolves, but I was searching for a part of me still good.
The Francisco homes started as an experiment of just welcoming people back from incarceration. The life sentence is given to someone that committed something very violent for the most part, and so means that in their lives they were not in a good place, and at some point they gave up hope totally, and it is in that hopelessness that something happened, something touched them, and it's in that moment of transformation that many of them chose to take the path of light.
I was almost 37 years old when I went to prison, and when I got out I was 72 years old. I did first degree murder. I shot the guy in the bar. I went home, got my gun, walked in the bar, stuck the gun to the guy's back of his head, shot him twice. That's a terrible crime. Because he didn't have a chance to defend himself. I mean, he was dead right there. And I think about that a lot.
Bad has a big gravitational pull on anybody that's close enough to it, and if you continue to orbit around that bad is going to pull you into the body of the trouble, of the turmoil, and you're going to be consumed by it.
With my gang activity, my drug mentality, my gang mentality, criminal thinking, I was a wild, vicious animal on the streets. I was an evil person. I had no remorse, compassion, or empathy for my fellow human beings. In that gang life, it was do or die. I'm sure I wasn't going to die, but that's not the way to live.
I think I had that split second choice of not to act, but because I couldn't control my impulses, I acted. And it took me many years in prison to mature, to control my impulses, not to just bam.
I was a terrible alcoholic. Through therapy, AA, and talking to people, helped me get out of prison. I would have never got out of prison if I wouldn't have took them groups. I'd still be in there.
We have to relearn, let people know, hey, there's nothing wrong for asking help.
Discipline was not the answer. Communication was the answer. Sit down and hear me out, because I might have had something to say and I didn't know how to say it at that time. I didn't have the words.
For men, we got to button it up, got to be macho. We thought big boys don't cry. That's wrong. You want to cry, cry. That's how you relieve stress.
I had to come to prison to be a human being. Can you believe that? I had to go to prison to become a human being.
We're not out of prison just because we ran out of time. We're out of prison because we applied ourselves.
I gained 50 pounds since I got out.
And trying to gain 50 more.
Yeah. No, I'm big enough right now.
After living Los Angeles 24 years, I got lost. But the minute hit Spring and Hill, I say Hill Street, Chinatown is not too far away because I used to work on Hill Street in Chinatown. I say, Chinatown is not too far away, find me Chinatown. He say, why? I say, I'm going to have the best wonton soup in 25 years.
Once we get out here, we're like, and everybody before me and everybody before them, we're like the forebearers of the guys that's still in there. And if we don't get out here and set good examples, you know what I mean, that's going to reflect on them. Okay, these guys are failures, they're committing crimes again, and this and that, so don't let any more of them guys out. We can't do that.
We have a tendency as society to forget that prison is a part of our society. In fact, prison is a reflection of the state of our society. If you have 33 prisons and everyone is filled to capacity, that is a reflection on the state of that society.
There's certain elements of people out there that the society says lock them up and throw away the key, or they deserve the death penalty, or this and that. You know what I mean? There are some horrendous crimes out there that deserves that. But for the most part, a lot of guys go in prison their first time, you know what I mean? And you wind up with a life sentence, you know what I mean? And that in and of itself states that you don't have any redeeming value, you know what I mean? Whereas I beg to differ.
You know, all the could have beens or would have beens, you know, that's out of the question, you know. It is what it is, you know. I'm an ex-murderer, you know, so ex-convict, ex-prisoner or whatever, you know. And now I'm trying to regain the trust of other people in society to not to look at me as a bad person. I'm not that same young individual that used to act on impulse, you know.
I still want to go to the beach. I still want to go look at some horses. I wanted to ride a bike, but I can't do that, so. And then just get reacclimated. I like it down here. I'll hopefully find a place and find a significant other and just move on. It just all takes time. It's a learning curve, so.
But my Lord didn't bring me this far to blow it. There's something in me, man. I know it. I see it now, despite the hood in me. I'm my mother's child, so there's good in me. A service to God and family with dignity as it should be. So like Los Angeles and them palm trees, I'm gonna lift my head and be free.